Well, the report takes us through a review of the last years, and I've got quite a few numbers to go through here. So Premier Li said China had ensured a stable economic performance in the last year, with GDP rising to over 18.5 trillion US dollars, growing by 5% year on year. He said that 12.56 million urban jobs had been created and that the urban unemployment rate was at 5.1%. The consumer price index increased by 0.2%. Now, on foreign trade, that reached a record high, with foreign exchange reserves surpassing $3.2 trillion. Premier Li reported that per capita disposable income in the country grew by 5.1% in real terms. Grain output had hit a new high of 700 million metric tons. He talked about high-tech manufacturing and equipment manufacturing. Those rose by 8.9% and 7.7% respectively. And sales of new energy vehicles were highlighted in this report. They passed the 13 million sales mark. Energy consumption per unit of GDP, that dropped by more than 3%. And the report outlined how China's strengthening environmental protection and promoting green and low-carbon development. Electricity in China generated by non-fossil fuel sources now accounts for almost 40% of total power generation. He said the value of added to core industries for the digital economy rose to about 10% of GDP. Now, the work report doesn't just look back, it's going to look ahead to the coming year, and expected targets were outlined by Premier Li. Let's take a listen to what he is saying for the year ahead.
The main targets for development this year are projected as follows: GDP growth of around 5%, surveyed urban unemployment rate of around 5.5%, over 12 million new urban jobs, CPI increase of around 2%. In setting the growth rate at around 5%, we have taken into account the need to stabilize employment, prevent risks, and improve the people's well-being, as well as the potential for growth and the conditions supporting growth. A target of around 5% is well aligned with our mid- and long development goals and underscores our resolve to meet difficulties head-on and strive hard to deliver.
Now, the difficulties that Premier Li are referring to, he said, are both internal and external. He said internally, China had faced sluggish economic demand and other issues. Consumer demand was sluggish. He cited other instances like natural disasters, including flooding, which made economic stability difficult to maintain. Now, externally, Premier Li said changes unseen in a century are unfolding around the world. He said the global environment currently is complex. And now, while he didn't refer directly to the United States, the potential trade war between the two countries is certainly on the minds of many people who are watching here in Beijing.
Jen, this report says China will keep the innovation-driven development. What exactly does that mean?
Yes, Premier Li said that China would unleash the creativity of the digital economy and said that this would accelerate innovation-driven development. Now, this involves a lot to do with artificial intelligence. He outlined the AI Plus initiative that will combine China's digital technologies and manufacturing strengths. So he said that China will support the extensive application of large-scale AI models. They will develop new smart manufacturing equipment with newly intelligent connected energy vehicles. That's things like autonomous driving, AI-enabled phones and computers and intelligent robots. Indeed, we've been talking to people who are saying that is really the future here, is these AI-enabled robots. He said this would be done by promoting broader application of technologies like 5G, optimizing the layout of computer resourcing throughout China, and creating these competitive digital clusters supporting talented young people. He spoke about involving young people at more high levels and rewarding them financially for their work to encourage talent growth, homegrown talent in China. So there's a lot of opportunities for the next innovators of companies like DeepSeek to flourish and contribute to what he called Chinese creativity in the world.